All right, now we're going to get into a little bit of fun of video. So everything that we've talked about, the power of blogging, the power of what you can do with social media and social tools, video really embodies all of it. Again, the point with that is that, one, it absolutely let people see, the culture. What are they like? It really, I think, changed what a lot of people think about Deloitte. It worked for retention. It also, because they created an entire YouTube channel around this that has gotten millions of views, it's working for them for recruiting now too. HOTUS didn't have anything to do with Deloitte. It was a completely internal, initiative by Deloitte. But I use it a lot because it's what, a year ago, I guess I think they did it. It's absolutely the best use case that I've ever seen for how to, one, use video, how to distribute it, and really, give an authentic, fun view. As you saw, it got picked up in mainstream media. It was really just amazing what they did. And you might think, well, it's Deloitte. They've got a ton of money. Yes. But it doesn't have to be done that way, right? I mean, how many people can take video on their phones? It doesn't take a lot of money to rent little video cameras, buy the little flip phones, give them away to employees, and literally tell them, we're going to have a contest. Go out, shoot a video. Why do you work here? What is it that makes you work here? You could very easily do something like that without it costing a lot of money. But again, you have to then be able to trust your employees. You have to get over, that they might say bad things. But again, I would say that this type of media self-polices itself. No one's going to turn in a video that just completely rips their company. They're going to know who did it. It just doesn't happen. We're going to dive into social networking quickly. I think you've heard a lot about social networking today. Little interesting stat that was done, Booz Allen Hamilton asked, what are the applicant sources that companies plan to use more often? They asked US recruiters this, and 74% said the company website. That's good. Number 3, 60% said social networking technology. I think that, one, it's really interesting because you still hear, I hear every time I speak, I can still see it. There's a lot of being unsure of how to do it, what to do, if they should. So I think 60% was pretty high. But I do think it's interesting that this is viewed as an applicant source. Because I very much would say that when you dive into social networking, it needs to be about relationship building. This isn't to fill a rec that you have on your desk that you've got to fill next week. Right? This is not what social networking is for. It is about building a relationship. And one of the worst things that you can do on a social networking site is reach out and ask someone if they're interested in a job when they don't know you. You heard the study, I forget who did it, that Pete had quoted, talking about how, including millennials, that no one wants to do job searches on social networks. They don't want to hear from recruiters on social networks. I agree with that research, and I think they're asking the wrong question, and people are doing it the wrong way. If you ask me if I want a recruiter to reach out to me on my Facebook page, and I've never even heard of this person before, probably not. I would view it as an intrusion, although I am over my 18 months. But if there was somebody working for a different company that I was kind of connected to, or that I noticed because they were sharing, they were part of the community, they were active in their industry, they were posting articles, they sent me something that I might be interested in, that's a whole different value proposition, right? That's somebody who is part of my community within social media, who is connecting to me and building a relationship. And at some point down the road, if they ever said, hey, Shannon, are you interested in working for us? That's way different than somebody that I don't know getting onto Facebook and saying, hey, do you want to come work here? So I think if you asked a millennial, do you want recruiters contacting you within Facebook, you better believe their answer is going to be no. And I think that's why you're seeing those studies. That doesn't mean that this isn't a viable vehicle for being able to build relationships. It just has to be used for that. It has to be used appropriately. Relationships have to be built the right way. And it is a lot of work. It does mean a lot of sharing. You have to give to that community first. This is where passive candidates are. you're going to see, we talk so much about resumes. We actually kind of have to stop talking about resumes and expecting that someone's going to have a resume, right? When you're recruiting, we could actually start looking more toward profiles. People don't always have their profiles filled out, but they also usually don't have their resume ready to go either. There's a ton of information that you can find out about somebody from their profile. Don't expect them to just have a resume on hand that they're going to be able to send to you. Again, this is for future opportunities. But within these social networking sites, the actual search functions are pretty similar to what you're used to within a career builder or within a Monster, meaning that you can search by location, you can search by industry, by college, but don't let that confuse you and think that this is a resume database, because it's not, because they don't have resumes, and they're passive, and they don't want to talk to you that way within social networking sites. But it is a way that you can start targeting people that you'd like to build a long-term relationship with. You'll hear me say a lot, this is all about communicating, right? This is not advertising. Laura and I are always really clear to try to delineate. There's a difference between placing an ad on Facebook and being part of the community within Facebook where you're actively sharing information and building your network. They're two completely different things. It's all about communicating and not advertising within here. This is my LinkedIn profile. We all kind of have a relationship now. So if you want to send me an invite, feel free. You can join my network. I just realized, based on what Pete said earlier, that I'm a power user. I didn't know that. So I have over 500 connections, and my profile is 100% complete. Now, I would also say that I don't view myself as someone who's highly social, and that usually people think that I'm crazy when I say that, but truly, I'm a listener. I'm not a talker. My husband is a talker. I am not. I really have never had just a ton of friends. It's just not who I am. So when my network connections got to over 500, I was pretty shocked by that. Most of these people are actually people that I know. I mean, I know who they are. I know where they work. But I've also been building my network for about 3.5 years. So it's not as if that just happened overnight. But at least does, show you some potential of someone whose job isn't recruiting and who isn't highly social, that you can build a pretty robust network. The way that I did it, the way that you could do it, start reaching out to people that you went to school with, people that you work with. At HOTUS alone, I think there are 350 some odd HOTUS employees. So there's almost half of my connections right there. Now, Facebook. I actually don't focus a ton on LinkedIn because I think LinkedIn is a given. Facebook, I think, is a much bigger nut to crack, and I think that there's way more opportunity within Facebook. If you look at the difference in the numbers, 25 million people on LinkedIn, 91 million. Oh, this is when this starts, becoming possessed and it turns on its own. Okay. There are 91 million active users on Facebook. It is the 4th most trafficked website of all websites. It's the #1 most trafficked social media site. The sheer volume of people who are on here is why I think it's really important to focus on Facebook. I think that there's a huge amount of opportunity. It just has to be done right. Don't ever walk out of this room after hearing me talk, go try to connect to somebody on Facebook and see if they're interested in a job opportunity and then come back and tell me it didn't work. It's not like that. You have to build a relationship with them. Who thinks that Facebook is only for their kids? Oh, well, that's good. Oh, you do. All right. Actually, the 25-year and older demographic is the largest growing demographic on Facebook. It did start as a college-focused site. That changed 2 years ago, I think, at this point, where they opened it up to all of the web. And it's just no longer the case at all that it's only for kids. People do way more than just have fun. It is a way that they keep up with connections, but many of those connections are exactly the same people that we find out job opportunities from. Their friends, their family, their colleagues. Building a page within Facebook. This is HOTUS's page within Facebook. Yes, we post pictures. Yes, that's me and Laura. We have several jobs that are open right now that we've actually posted up on Facebook. We've tried to get some discussion going. Our company isn't all that interested in discussing HOTUS for some reason, but that's okay.